What is up, guys? Welcome to the Sports Degenerate podcast. We finally have some NFL football. Are you guys excited? Because I am so hype. It couldn't have come. It couldn't have come faster. Oh my god, I'm so excited. But let's hop into it. Thursday, September 5th, Chiefs versus Ravens. Thursday night football, opening game of the season. Some fantasy advice, some betting advice. Let's get into it, guys. So let's start with some fantasy talk. There are a lot of studs in this game that if you drafted them, do not overthink starting them. It's an easy start. If you drafted either quarterback, Mahomes or Lamar, easy start, no question. Either tight end, Kelsey, Andrews, they are locks in your lineup. Same thing with both running backs. Derrick Henry, Isaiah Pacheco. Do not overthink these guys. You drafted all of these guys high for a reason. They are foundational pieces for your team. There are three guys, though, that you probably drafted late, that you probably have to make lineup decisions on, that aren't guaranteed starts. Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, and Xavier Worthy. Let's start with Rashee Rice because I absolutely love him this year. If you follow me on social media, you guys saw that I made so many videos on him during draft season. Go check out my social media page. It's The Sports Degenerate on every single platform, the same name as this podcast. I'll give you a quick rundown. If you want to see the full explanation, check out the videos. But a quick rundown of why I love Rashee Rice. He is probably my favorite breakout receiver this year. I think he can be top 12. Here's why. One, I like the talent. He's not a super elite route runner. He does two things very well. He has great hands. He catches absolutely everything. And he's elite, super elite after the catch. My comp for him while watching film was Chris Godwin. And I think that's Rashee Rice's upside. Imagine Chris Godwin with Patrick Mahomes. Not only do I like the talent, I just think the volume for him this year is going to be insane. Rashee Rice as a rookie. Mind you, he wasn't even a full-time player until halfway through the season. As a rookie, he was only 20 targets behind Kelsey. I think he becomes the number one target on the team this year. He becomes Mahomes' number one receiver and just takes off to the moon. A quick little stat for you guys. His last 5 games of the regular season, his catches went like this: 8 catches, 7 catches, 9 catches, 6 catches, and 5 catches. That's an average of 7 catches per game. And then in the 4 playoff games for the Chiefs, he had 8, 4, 8, and 6 catches. That's an average of 6.5 catches per game. So in a PPR league, he's getting you minimum 6 catches per game, and with his after-the-catch skills, that's close to 15 PPR points per game without a touchdown. And I think he takes a step up this year. I think he's closer to 17, 18 points per game. Lock and load Rashee Rice into your lineup, guys. But I know you guys are going to have some tough lineup decisions because you probably didn't draft Rice to be a starter. So I'll give you guys who I would start over him and who I wouldn't start over him. There are 10 guys that I think are absolute locks. That if you have these guys, don't hesitate. Start him over Rashee Rice, no question. Here they are. I'll go slow for the guys that are just listening to the podcast. If you're watching, I'm going to put them on the screen. These guys are locks over Rashee Rice. Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, and then both Rams receivers, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Those 10 receivers, if you have them, don't even question it. Other than that, I kind of like Rashee Rice over the rest of the field, man. Just quick example, I would start Rashee Rice over Michael Pittman, over Nico Collins, over Stephon Diggs, over Deebo Samuel, over Marvin Harrison, and a lot more. Comment in the comments or message me on social media if you have lineup decisions. I'll give you my advice. Here's why I would start Rashee Rice over players like that. Just these 5, for example. Michael Pittman, he has Anthony Richardson throwing him the ball. I would rather have targets from Patrick Mahomes, and I think Rice gets more volume. 2, Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. I actually had to make this lineup decision myself. I benched Diggs for Rashee Rice in one of my leagues. The only thing I'm worried about, and I like Diggs this year. I think Diggs is a breakout. I think people are sleeping on him. I think he can still be elite. The only thing I worry about just for this week is I don't know how the targets are going to be shared on that team. Is Nico Collins going to be the number 1? Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs? So I would rather go with the guaranteed volume of Rashee Rice. Debo Samuel is just a PPR thing. For me, PPR league, Rashee Rice is going to get more work. So in a non PPR league, half PPR, I'm fine with Samuel, but full PPR, I like Rashee Rice. And then Marvin Harrison, I'm just not a believer in starting rookies over proven talent. That's just me. But like I said, send me your lineup decisions, and I will try to give you my best advice. So that's Rashee Rice. Put him in your lineup. Absolutely love him. Let's move on to Zay Flowers. For me, at the moment, he's no more than a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. It's not a talent thing. I love Zay Flowers as a talent. He just hasn't proven that he can consistently perform with Mark Andrews on the field. All of his good games last year came when Mark Andrews was hurt. So if you are in a league that starts 3 receivers, he's a solid start. If you want to flex him, I don't mind it. Like I said, send me your lineup decisions. I will give you my best advice. Lastly, Xavier Worthy. I would rather not start him unless you are super desperate, but we just have no idea. He could literally give us a 0. We have no idea when it comes to Andy Reid. I will give you some examples. I would rather start any of the Packers receivers. We know they are good, and Jordan Love slings the rock. I would even rather start players like Josh Palmer and Courtland Sutton. Those guys are going to be number 1 receivers on their team and get more guaranteed volume than Xavier Worthy will. So I just would rather not start Worthy unless you have to until we see him perform. So that is all my fantasy advice. 1, start your studs. 2, absolutely love Rashee Rice. 3, Zay Flowers is no more than a wide receiver 3. And 4, I would rather not start Xavier Worthy. Now let's get into the bets. So let's start off with your normal straight bets. All of these lines should be on whatever sportsbook you use. It should all be similar lines no matter what site you use. All of these are going to be single bets, straight bets, no parlays. I'm not a huge parlay bettor. I'm here to make a profit, not win big. But if you want to parlay all of these together, feel free. I like all of these bets. Let's start off with the spread of the game. I have Ravens plus 3.5. The line was originally at plus 3. I bought half a point to make it 3.5 to give us a little bit of wiggle room. So the Ravens can lose by a field goal and we still win. 3 reasons why I like this bet. 1, Lamar in his last 13 games as an underdog is 12-1 against the spread. So historically, he's going to cover this spread. And then 2, I think the Ravens come out with revenge. They want vengeance. They lost to the Chiefs last year in the playoffs. I think they come out hot. And 3, the Chiefs have come out slow the last couple of years. They lost to the Lions in week 1 last year. So I like the Ravens plus 3.5. Now let's get into the player props. First one, we got Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown score, minus 140. I mean, it's Derrick Henry. I like the odds of Derrick Henry scoring no matter what. But now he's on the Ravens, where Gus Edwards had 13 touchdowns last year. Easy bet. I think the Ravens feed him week 1. I like it. Next, we got Mahomes over 269 passing yards. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. I never feel bad betting over on Mahomes. And his last 5 games against Lamar, Mahomes averages over 340 passing yards in those 5 games. Easy lock. Next, we got Mark Andrews over 47.5 receiving yards. So actually, historically, he doesn't do the best against the Chiefs. But I still like this bet, and here's why. 1, he's Lamar's number 1 target. He always will be. And it's week 1 of this season. Teams always have a script where their best players get the ball. I think they feed him a lot of targets. And even though he doesn't do well against the Chiefs, he averages over 50 receiving yards a game in his career. So just based on history, it's a good chance he goes over 47. Next, this is probably my favorite. You guys should already guess who this player is. I talked a lot about him earlier. Rashee Rice, over 5.5 receptions. I gave you the stats earlier. Last year, he averaged at least 6 per game. So just based on that, he's going to hit 6. Super lock it in. Rashee Rice over 5.5 receptions. So let's get into the Underdog Fantasy player parlays. If you haven't used the Underdog Fantasy app, I'll put the code on the screen. Use my code CE2244 for a deposit match up to $100. So if you put in $100, they will give you $100 in free bets. I will give you the 4 bets that I like. You can do what you want with them. You can put all four of these in a parlay. You can kind of mix and match. Usually there are free bets. Like, for example, I got a Travis Kelce over half a yard. Usually there's a lot of bets when you first sign up. You get those type of bets. So do whatever you want. These are the four lines that I like. We got Mahomes over 265 passing yards. Earlier I talked about 269. Any number under 270, lock it in. We still got Rashee Rice over 5.5 catches. Talked about it earlier. Easy bet. We still got Derrick Henry anytime touchdown score. Talked about it earlier. Like that bet. And then lastly, we got Andrews over 46.5 receiving yards. Earlier, I talked about 47.5. Any number under 50, I like the bet. So those are the four bets I like on Underdog Fantasy. Thanks for watching, guys. Week 1, Game 1, Chiefs-Ravens. We talked a little bit of fantasy advice, a little bit of betting advice. I will post a video before the Eagles-Packers games doing the same thing. Follow for more, guys. Love y'all.